there is news related to Flint, because Status Quo also is the only one that's been covering Flint, and we will continue to cover Flint. And if you didn't know, there's also a water crisis now in Newark, New Jersey. I was on the ground there Sunday interviewing people, and I'm going to be back since it's close to where I live. We will be doing more and more on the Newark water crisis. So this is also another major reason. Become a member. It's how we keep the lights on, but it's also how we fund in the field reporting. So in Flint, as you know, we broke a story last year about basically the state of Michigan cheating on the water testing for 2 years. They manipulated the water testing to make it look like the lead levels were back to normal when who knows what the real lead levels were. They were doing this by flushing residents' lines before taking the water test. The narrative that the Flint water is improved or the water crisis is over is a false narrative. Status Quo showed you. We broke the story that to get those numbers, they cheated. They basically flushed away the lead before taking samples. So, crypto is really high. That's great. So, the thing is, the state did that. So then after the state cheated on the testing, they wiped their hands of it, and they said that the city of Flint is now responsible for continuing the water testing because you have to continually monitor. Well, this is the letter. This is the letter that the state, now called the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, it used to be called the Department of Environmental Quality, sent the city of Flint the other day. Subject, violation notice, monitoring and reporting for lead and copper. The records of the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, Drinking Water and Environmental Health Division show that the city of Flint is in violation of the Safe Drinking Water Act as amended, specifically RS blah, 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 blah. Lead and copper in tap water monitoring requirements. In accordance with the above rules, the city shall collect samples every 6 months, have them analyzed for lead and copper, and report the results to the environmental department. The city's specific monitoring requirement was to collect samples from 60 confirmed Tier 1 sites during the monitoring period between January 1st, 2019 and June 30th. All Tier 1 means is the most at-risk homes for lead contamination. That's what Tier 1 means. The most at-risk homes, usually homes that have a lead service line connected to it. So now the Michigan Environmental Department is saying that the city of Flint did not test enough homes that are most at risk for water contamination, which is very much the pot calling the kettle black. So the state of Michigan, the environmental department under now former Governor Rick Snyder, who literally cheated for over 2 years and then spun off their cheating as the water's fine now, is now telling the city of Flint it's out of compliance. So I reached out to the mayor, Karen Weaver, and the mayor, her spokesperson, if I could find it. I got so many emails now. Hold on. The mayor's spokesperson responded to me. Okay, you can't see either of our emails. Perfect. The city is working on a response to this letter, which will go out tomorrow. The city disagrees with the facts as stated in this letter, as the environmental department did not provide the city with the final approved sampling methods for first and fifth 1 liter and 5 liter lead and copper sampling until March 22nd, 2019, 3 months into the monitoring period. So this might sound like kind of in the weeds to you. So let me break it down for you. The state basically set up the city of Flint to take the fall. For a fall. The state set up the city of Flint to fail, because it didn't give the city of Flint whatever its testing measurements were, how many homes needed to be tested, that kind of thing. I was actually going to interview a Flint resident tonight about this and get an update on the overall crisis, because now they might be trying to take away the emergency declaration, which means even more relief pulled away from Flint, which the crisis is not over. But because the media is accomplices to the state, because the media just repeats and regurgitates lies from the state, because the media doesn't do any investigative reporting that shows, no, these numbers are cooked. They haven't even changed all of the lead service lines in Flint over 5 years later. Those lead service lines would have been fixed within 6 months right here in New York. So you have a state of Michigan that has cheated on the water testing. You have a new governor as of January who said she was going to reopen those water pods, hasn't done that. And now you have the state basically saying the city of Flint is not meeting the standards of the EPA for water testing, but it didn't give the city of Flint any assistance or any measurements on how they test until 3 months into the measuring period. In America, 22 people get shot up in Texas, 9 people in Dayton, all within 24 hours. Weeks later, nothing. Trump is now moonwalking away from background checks. America, over 100 million people, majority black, all poor, get poisoned over 5 years ago. Nothing happens. Newark, New Jersey, which I just went to, where some of the pipes in the ground were put in the ground in 1880 and still have not been changed. You got majority black community there, 30% poverty, now dealing with the same thing as Flint. But let's talk about what the madness of what Trump is tweeting today, calling himself the chosen one. And Detroit's water screwed up too. Thank you, Magic Jack. Love that name, by the way. There was a protest in Detroit at the water division around 2 p.m. So maybe when people criticize me and status quo, you don't cover Trump enough. Well, maybe we're covering everything that the corporate media is covering up. Because call me old-fashioned. Call me old-fashioned. But I kind of think that water is the most important thing for the human body. And I'm pretty sure the research and science backs me up. And if the water is still not safe in Flint, which my research and my reporting show it's not, and you could go ask the residents who are still over 5 years later getting rashes from that water, getting hair loss. Some of them have nosebleeds. I was supposed to interview someone, a Flint resident tonight, but she canceled on me because it is so hot. And when it is so hot out, if you're already immunocompromised, which most people who are lead poisoned are immunocompromised, you don't feel well most of the time. It is crippling when you have lead in your bones and your brain and you're all over your body. So we're going to continue covering Flint while CNN covers what Trump tweeted today, while everybody else covers the horse race, who's up, who's down, how many great plans Elizabeth Warren has. And don't think it's just Flint, folks. Don't think it's just Newark. We got water problems in Detroit, East Chicago, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Newark, New Jersey, North Carolina, now Bloomfold, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Florida, California, Oregon. Just to name a few. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statusquo.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statusquo.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.